one of the attendees was a department chair at San Jose State, and he asked me to strongly consider teaching in the brand new packaging program that he was creating. So I said, okay, I'm not going to argue with that. They said, well, we need this packaging systems class first. Packaging systems, what is that? Well, it's packaging machinery, packaging machinery systems, and it's everything that you see on a filling line. And so I said, okay, I think, I don't know. And so I had to learn real quick about what the packaging systems were all about. But the first class was successful, and then the second one was dynamics, and that I taught that in 1985. And I quickly discovered that I enjoyed the teaching a lot. We had amazing people there. In 1994, a Brazilian named George Marcondes was finishing up his PhD in packaging at Michigan State, and through a series of twists and turns, wound up at San Jose State as a packaging program director, and he was marvelous. He made the program grow. He was a good-looking fellow, but he was also very smart, and just a real gentleman. Well, people flocked to him like you wouldn't believe, and the program went from a dozen students to 70 within a couple of years, and it was great working with him. He would tutor me in terms of how to really teach in this program, and he taught me a lot about the teaching profession. And it's funny because he didn't know that much about it himself, but he was just a natural at it. And there are some people like that, and he was one of them. And so I taught at San Jose State from 1985 through 2014. Most of the time, one class per semester. Normally a night class of some sort that would normally meet either twice a week or 2 or 3 times a week, typically. But it was always a night class, so it would get me home in Monterey, about 10 o'clock at night. And it was just getting to me. But at any rate, in the year 2000, George left and went to Clemson. And for him, that was the right move. He really wanted to stay at San Jose State, but they offered him an endowed chair. Well, you just don't turn that down. That's a real honor. And unfortunately, later that same year, he contracted a brain tumor that eventually took his life 3 years later. But at any rate, after he left, I was part of the industry advisory program for the packaging curriculum, and they were looking for someone to take George's place, and they weren't very well motivated, quite honestly, and eventually I just got sick and tired of it, and I sat down at one of their planning meetings, and I said, "You have a new director." And I said, "Oh, who's that?" And I said, "You're looking at him, okay?" And no one said no yet, so I'm your new packaging program director, And little did I know that they kind of figured that was coming, and so I was teaching 2 and sometimes 3 classes per semester, plus trying to run WESTPAK, and it was a big load. It really was, and I did that for almost 7 years, and that finally I said, I'm getting too old for this stuff. I just can't handle it. And it put a lot of stress on our home life and our marriage and a few other things. So I said, I just can't do this. That's when Fritz Jambach was hired to run the program. Well, let's say 2007 through 2019. So that was 12 years. And then he left, and Edmund Tang was just recently an employee at WESTPAK. He was probably our best lab manager. He decided he was going to make academia his career, and a harder working guy would be hard to find, but he's perfect for the job because he relates to the students so well, and that's a big part of the job. During our presentation, you heard some war stories about how I was, tough on the students, and for the most part, that is true. And I really had this desire to make sure that they knew the right way to do something. So if they got up and they made a less than good approach to a presentation, I would in fact stop it and say there's no benefit to practicing something that won't do you any good the rest of your life. You want to practice those things that will in fact enhance your career. And if that means I have to stop you mid-term, that's what I'll do, because it's best for you long term. And so I would do that. Now the price you pay for that is some of the war stories that you heard tonight about what a meanie I was. In fact, there was one of these presentations that I wasn't able to go to. I don't know, probably 15 years ago. I was out of town for some reason or other, and so they created what they called the virtual herb, and it was my head image, and they mounted it on a piece of foam and cut it out, and they put it on the stick, and they would go up and down and ask questions from the virtual herb. So anyway, but I do enjoy the teaching, and it's just we don't compensate our good teachers very much at all, and so that's why we don't have a lot of them.